welcome back. In the past video we have talked about the Fairlight tab, and now let's jump into the Delivery tab. So into the Delivery tab you have pretty much the render settings, and they're here. If you want to see each and every single segment into your video, you can click on this and it will show up to you. But now let's talk about the render settings. So for the render settings, the first thing you do is you choose the file name. So I will name it first project. Then you have to choose the location. The location I will choose is Marius 2022. That's my location, and then I'll choose courses, Udemy, DaVinci, and I will save it here. Then I want to export it as an MP4, and the codec has to be H.264. The resolution, it depends upon your camera or whatever footage you have got. In my case it's 1920 times 1080 is the most basic resolution you have, and the frame rate is 25 in my case. And then of course for the rest of it I want the quality to be the best, so that's why I simply choose settings here, automatic and best. That's it. And in order to add your video to the render queue, all you have to do is press on this, and then you render your video. And as the video renders, you can see the progress. Actually, you see how much time it's remained until the video has done rendering, and you see how much of it has been rendered. And now down here you've got a timeline, and here are the segments as I told you. So let's just wait until this video renders out, because it will finish soon, as you can see. And also let's actually talk about whatever you have here, whatever else you have here. So if you don't want to use custom export, you can automatically export your video into YouTube, and this way you can actually create the description, the title, and right now there is even a newer setting, a newer tool which gives the possibility to add chapters to your video instantly from DaVinci Resolve. Now as you can see, my video is rendering. If there will be something wrong with it, because there have been lots of times when simply the video did not render, this will become red, and there should be a red segment showing up here. But that's it pretty most with the rendering with the Delivery tab. Now also you might have to share your project with someone else in the future. So how do you do that? In order for them to be able to make changes into your project in the future. So one way of doing that would be to export only your timeline and not the footage. So there are multiple ways of sharing your project with others. One of them is by exporting your timeline. One of them is by exporting the whole video. Another way is by exporting both the footage you have and the timeline files, the DRP file. So let me actually show you. The first way to export your project is export project, and you save it as a DRP file. So a DRP file is basically a file you open, and using that file you'll be able to work within the project. Now a shortcut would be Ctrl-O, I guess, or Ctrl-Shift-O. Yeah, it's Ctrl-Shift-O. So using Ctrl-Shift-O you export the timeline. So if you need to export your timeline, you press on Ctrl+Shift+O and you will export your timeline. Now another way of exporting your project is by going here into the project manager and then right click, and then you can export project archive. So the project archive basically is everything. It includes the project plus all of the footage you have got into it, and that's the one I actually did not use, but it's quite useful. But I don't choose to, because I choose to export my files into different style. I have all of them packed into one folder, and the project I choose to do it as a DRP file or DRT if I want to export only my timeline. And that's it for the delivery tab. As I told you, you have different options here to export your video directly into YouTube. As you can see, you can simply upload it. You can add the chapters for markers. You can export it for Twitter, Dropbox, Vimeo, as a Premiere file, Final Cut Pro file, and that's something great about DaVinci. So in general, that's it with this video. Also, I forgot to tell you that if you don't want to export your whole video, you can choose which part to render. So if you want to render the entire timeline, you choose entire timeline. I don't know why it doesn't select me those titles. It should probably be a problem. It was an error. But now if you want to export your whole timeline, you press entire timeline. If you want to choose which part to export, you just choose it's kind of trimming it out. But that's it pretty much with the delivery tab. Thanks for watching, and see you in the next video, where we're going to cover in the next section, where we're going to cover how you can think like an editor, how you can create a roadmap, and what are the editing styles we choose in DaVinci Resolve. So see you in the next video, and all the best to you.